No, well, I've been trying to get everything situated and, put together and all that jazz. No, but we made it. We did make it finally. So we're all here and we're live. Yes, we are live. We are broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond. You're listening to 90.1 FM from the most trusted puppet and media, reporting since Roswell. I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday morning. Yes, we are here on a Saturday morning. Shout out to everyone in the chat. See Ramen Toys, Skydro Walker, Big M, Sergeant Schultz, a couple other people. Now, you know that we're not only on Instagram. We got the Sam Cam live here. So the Sam Cam is live. But not only do we have the Sam Cam live, we do have a couple of other cameras as well. Well, the Sam Cam is the Instagram one. Well, that's kind of the main one. But then we have this other one over here too. And this one has Facebook, YouTube, and X. Facebook, YouTube, and X. Instagram over here. And so we're streaming live on video-wise on 4 different channels. And we are on WDCE.org. You can listen to the radio speed there. And that way you can hear all the cartoon themes and everything that we play throughout the show. Can't hear those live, but they're broken down in segments. So there's segments when I'm here live on the screen, and then there's segments when you can only hear them on the radio. This is a radio show. So I always tell people that just seeing my beautiful puppet face is a supplement, not a substitute, right? Okay, it's a supplement, not a substitute. You want to be listening to the radio, WDC 90.1 FM. If you're just driving around here in Richmond, turn on your radio, you'd be hearing my beautiful puppet voice. Shout out to a couple other people, Casper in the chat, White Vegeta, Sir Philosopher, and a whole bunch of people that are joining in to the show. People say, love the hat, Sam. I got this hat. I got this hat from my buddy Cato. Cato ended up meeting Ace. I think it was at PowerCon. PowerCon is where they met up. And this hat was bestowed upon Cato from Ace. And then Cato bestowed it upon me. So now you're seeing, but people say, well, Sam, why do you still have the tag on the side? It's flopping around there on the side. Well, that's what the cool kids do, right? So if the cool kid's going to keep the tag on, listen, if it had a hologram, I'd keep that on there too. So maybe that's the next go round. Next set of hats are going to have holograms. No, they're not. I'm just talking. No, but here's the thing. I love this hat. This hat's great. It's fantastic. What was that? Oh, you want me to? Oh, okay, hold on a second. Hang on a second. Let's see here. Let's move this around here. All right. Let's see if we can. There we go. All right. So now I look more hip, right? Yeah. So now, yeah, this is how the cool kids wear it. Yeah. So now I have the hat on backwards. But of course, if you could see what it says here. It says, have yourself a bowl of ramen toy. That's right. Have yourself a bowl of ramen toy. Ramen being retro articulated 80s modern nostalgia. Yeah. Retro articulated modern 80s nostalgia. You can say it again. It's kind of like Sesame Street. You can say it. We all say it together. Retro 80s modern. No. Retro articulated modern 80s nostalgia. See, now you guys messed me up. You see what happened there? That's what happened. So retro articulated modern 80s nostalgia. Say it with me again. Retro articulated modern 80s nostalgia. Right? Isn't that what I said? That's what I said. But the thing is, and the reason why I brought this up, now I was going to talk about this last week. There's been some hullabaloo. Now we talk about action figures and toys. What was that? Oh, Toy Town? Oh, Toy Town is fine. What do you mean Lord Blanket? Whatever. No, I think that you're just misunderstood. Lord Blanket's misunderstood. Yeah, this whole Lord Blanket thing that you're talking about. No. So somebody was asking about the toys. Well, action figures and toys. Well, action figures and toys is what we talk about on Saturday morning. So of course I'm going to talk about action figures and toys. But one of the things about action figures and toys, do you have the questions? Do you have the questions? Oh, let's get the questions. Well, there's a lot of questions here. Well, I mean, because, here I am. If there's anybody who is a Brave Star aficionado, it would be me. No, that is wrong. That's not what I wanted to do. I grabbed the iPad and it's doing something. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, there we go. Did we get it? Sorry, I think there was a phone call made. Not meant to make a phone call. So that was my apologies if anybody ended up getting a phone call. Oh, that was that was Ace. Sorry, Ace. Did not mean to call you. Oh no, I was just trying to look. I was looking over the. Well, see, this is what happens when my felt furry fingers trying to get everything here, and I'm trying to get all this all set up. So okay, here we go. Okay, so here it is. So the thing is a couple of weeks ago, Dawson Toys releases this Brave Star figure. I mean, they call it the Sheriff. They called it the Sheriff, and it was everywhere. It was called the Sheriff. But when it shows up, there's Brave Star logos all over the thing. And I was like, wait a minute, hold a second, hold the phone. Because I know that as someone who's been waiting for a Brave Star figure over the last 38 years, I knew that my buddy Ace had been working on a figure similar to Brave Star. He called it the Marshall. Let's make sure that we use our proper terms here. But yeah. So he sits there and he creates this Marshall figure, which is kind of an homage to a certain Marshall, Brave Star. But the thing is that it's known as the Marshall. It's going to be labeled as the Marshall and everything. But when all of a sudden I get this thing in the mail, what this thing says is this thing says Brave Star on it. So I say, hold on, wait a minute. I was like, I got to get some more information from my buddy Ace. Because if you're familiar with Ramen Toy has been around for several years now, and they're coming out with many, many different types of action figures and toys. Starting off with the 80s Commanders, an homage to the Centurions of the 1980s, the Centurions action figures and the cartoon. And then along with that, a couple of other things. Silverhawks came around. They did a couple of Silverhawks. They did Monstar and a Quicksilver. A couple of other things that they've done. They've done the Ramen Racer, which is coming out later this year. Looking forward to that. The Makina line, which is an homage to the Mask line. So there's a lot of things. Oh, Aces of Aviation, another one coming out soon. So as they've been growing and doing things, they've been doing things the right way. However, this is my first time. Now, I wasn't familiar with, I guess you would say, third-party companies. I think you would say, I don't want to sit there. That sounds like it's belittle. Like, well, it's not knockoff. I mean, knockoff's offensive. I don't want to say knockoff. No. Third-party companies. And I found this out from Kato and Kaz, a couple other people who are these Transformer guys, because we all know GoBots are better. Rock Lords are superior. So I was never big on Transformers at all. But they sit there and they tell me about all of this stuff, that third-party Transformers are better than the Hasbro ones or the Takara ones, right? So I've never been familiar with these companies. But then all of a sudden, Ramen Toy comes out, just breaking down walls and barriers over the last couple of years, doing things that no other toy company is really doing, outside maybe a few here locally in the States that actually are continually talking to their fan base, talking to the people that are actually buying their toys during the whole entire production process, showing them the production process, showing them the whole thing. So with that, I was, of course, very confused by all of this. So the first question, of course, I asked Ace was very simple. Wanted to get his response on the Dawson Toys Sheriff. Or was it something that caught them off guard? And were they expecting a third-party studio to do a Brave Star figure, another Brave Star homage figure? Ace told me, he said, I wasn't expecting another company to make a Brave Star. So it did catch me off guard. But I do think it's great that someone else thinks that this subject has market potential. So, let's see. The second question that I had, do you think that having other companies making niche license figures that haven't been made in almost 40 years helps or hinders a company's ability to make more figures from or based on a toy line moving forward? Whereas Ace responds, not at all. But if I say 3 or more companies are doing the same subject, then we will drop out, concentrate on other subjects. Just like we had also wanted to do Count Duckula. So once we saw that it had been put out by another company, and it looks really decent, I won't want to go ahead and try to top that. There are a lot of other things to do before we all expire. Ah, very, very well said. Number three is this company is projecting a late February ship date. I was wondering what your time frame was from the Marshall, and also some of the other things. 3-0 when that uh, um, pre-order is going to come out. He says, "Well, we mentioned Marshall is a second quarter delivery, so because this one's going to come out before ours, that's going to be the case. 3-0 pre-orders are in March, and this one is really good. I love this one. Doesn't ever feel like, I always tell people, I never compete with anybody. Well, there's no other real media puppets here on the radio on Saturday morning. But in terms of competition, the only person that I compete with is myself. Myself and my show last week, right? And my reel yesterday as opposed to today's, or today's compared to yesterday. I am only competing with myself, not competing with anybody. This is what he says. He says, we only compete with ourselves, not others. Uh, they can put out a 30-30 tomorrow and it won't affect our plans. So, that was the first round of questions that I talked to Ace about. And that was very, very enlightening. And then I received this Dawson figure. So I had a couple of more follow-up questions. First one is what his impressions were of this Dawson figure. And he says he thinks it's decent, well made. If you don't consider the sizing of the hands, which in his opinion was a little big, but overall a good figure. Well, you know what that means. If the figure has big hands, right? Well, it probably has multiple ones. Right. Yeah, exactly. So what did you think I meant? No, 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 no. I was talking about the hands of the figure. Right. Yeah. No, I mean, well, you said they were big. So that means they would probably have a couple of different hand sets, whatever that you're thinking about. The next question is what design articulation differences do you like or not like that makes the Marshall different and compared to this? He says, I'm not going to compare the Marshall. There's no need to do that. Let the collectors compare. I do not want to compare with another product, but let's say the Sheriff happens to be a superior product. And I will say that it is really a bar above ours. But as I've already mentioned, it's a decent figure and don't need to make any comparisons. Once again, because the only people that they're competing against is themselves, because that's what they do, competing only solely with themselves. I told them that is very well said. And of course, my last one is that they are very mindful of licensing. So this particular figure was labeled the Sheriff, yet, like I said earlier, arrived with the actual Brave Star logos and designs all over it. Now, we do know that in the past, Ramen Toys has received letters from companies telling them that they need to stop this or do that, cease and desist, and blah, blah, blah. Well, they've not received anything about that on the Marshall at all. So, now this is what he said. He said, how and why companies now, this is what I asked. I said, how and why can companies get away with this while your company, Ramen Toy, is trying to do things the right way and still getting C and D letters from major companies? Yet you're still trying to do things to your best and doing things right. So, is this a normal business practice? Wanted to know this because, like I said, I never have seen this before. And this is what he said. He said, I definitely don't think they are going to get away with it. Because to be fair, we did not, and he said, we did not receive any cease and desist letters. So what may be happening, like the 80s Commanders, is that the IP holder simply is not made aware projects, or at least no one has complained to the IP holder about our projects. But based on what I just explained, we did not get any letters. So I would summarize that they didn't get any letters, but he does not think that they're going to eventually get away with it. So even though this thing says Brave Star all up and down, Ace said that he does not think that they will get away with this. However, there is another set coming, I believe. 5K Toys is going to have those. But once again, you can still pre-order the Marshall if you go to ramentoy.com, ramentoy.com. The Marshall's still available. They only make 1,000 of them up front. So if once that 1,000 is out, it's out. And Brave Star being very popular, being very, very popular, is Something just to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on it, yes, and we will be doing that. So I want to give a shout out to Ace once again. Shout out to Ace over at Ramen Toy. Ramen Toy and his whole team are doing a wonderful job. They're now celebrating Chinese New Year, so they're not going to be around the offices over the next 2 weeks. So if you reach out to them, they're not going to be around. I was surprised when I got a text from him earlier. So, but he says it's not about them getting away with it. It's not about them getting away with it. It's not about them getting away with it. Maybe that's what. So I guess maybe they are going to get away with it. I guess I see Ace in the chat. So I apologize if I misread that just a few moments ago. I did not say I do not think they will get away with it. I do not think he said I did not say I did not think they would get away with it. So let me recorrect the record. I do not think they will get away with it. He did not say that. No, no, no. So that's not what he said. So correct the record real quick. Is that what it said? So if I did say that, I did misspeak. So I apologize, Ace. So he does not that they don't think they would. Maybe they will get away with it. I guess that's the question. So will they get away with it? I want to know how they can get away with it, Ace. Because when companies are doing the right thing, I want to know how other companies can come up behind other companies who are doing the right thing and then just can throw this out. Because I don't think that that's right. I do not think that it's right. So, but yeah, let me just make sure I clarify that I did not say I don't think that they will get away with it. I don't think they will get away with it. So, but yeah, so just want to clarify that as well. But I do want to thank Ace over at Ramen Toy, who's doing all the right things with the right team. And that is really what matters because they're doing the right thing. So I want to say once again, thank you, Ace. And so once again, apologize if I read that wrong. Like I said, I'm reading on the iPad here, the felt fingers and everything. So yeah, so he says, well, as long as they don't get a letter, then as long as Ramen doesn't get a letter, he doesn't think they will either. So, but yeah, but you guys do everything right. All of a sudden, this company is just like, hey, let me just slap this licensed name on it. So, which I think is crazy. Which I think is crazy. But you know what? Here's the problem with it. The thing is the collectors want it, right? If collectors want it, and they want to have it, then I think that if there's companies out there that are going to want to do it, such as Ramen Toy, then they should be giving access to the license. Now, and that's the bottom line, and that's really the whole crux of all of this, is that it's here. I've been waiting for 38 years. I get this one figure from some rando company with license stickers all over it that they didn't get the license for, and the one that I've been waiting for is the one that I'm really waiting for. It's the one that's connected to this hat. So, but anyways, it's interesting. Very, very interesting all over the place. Once again, shout out to Ace over at Ramen Toy. Once again, just being a stand-up person, being able to answer these questions, or like I said, if I misspoke, it's because I read them wrong. Well, it's the iPad. I was trying to get the iPad. You guys need to print these out for me in the future. If it was on paper, like I read the newspaper every Saturday, I probably wouldn't have misspoke. But it's okay. RamenToy.com, RamenToy.com. A couple of things, minor things here. Let's see. Oh, wait, got one more thing. Let's see. It depends. Oh, aha. He said, yeah, it's communication. Communication is what Ace was just saying. I see Ace here in the chat. He says it depends if they can be easily reached out to, like us. Anyone can reach out to us via many of our channels. And that's one of the things, like I was saying at the beginning, separates Ramen Toy from everyone else. You want to have a company that is communicating with you and taking advice. So that is something that we all commend. I know that everybody in the chat appreciates it as well. And of course, everybody out there who's been getting Ramen Toy figures has just been noticing over the course of time, they've been setting the standard and raising the bar, getting better and better, better and better. Why? Because of the communication with the community. And like I said, Ace, we appreciate all that you do. Appreciate this hat. Appreciate this hat. Makes me look good on a Saturday morning when I'm talking about action figures. It does. I mean, I could just have my other hat on. But this makes me look official, like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to toys. Well, I do, because I have people like Ace in my corner, and also Skydro Walker taking pictures. You save 15% if you use the code Skydro, SKYDRO at extremesets.com. Oh my gosh, it is 10:30 here on the 10th day of February in the year 2024. I got about 10 minutes of songs that I'm going to play here in just a moment. A couple of things. I don't want to spoil it just yet, but I got a couple of things we're going to play here. And then we're going to come back on the other side. Video here in just a few moments. Video here in just a few moments. We're going to be back on the other side with Deep Cut Dave. Once again, thanks so much for everybody for joining into the stream. Once again, shout out to Ace over at Ramen Toy for being in the chat and also answering these questions, even though I don't know how to read them. Well, I blame the team. I blame the team. It's not me. It's never me. No, listen, I'm trying to do everything right here. Setting the standard, raising the bar. The only way a real media puppet knows how to do. Well, yeah, on a Saturday morning. Right. Anyways, broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond. You're listening to 90.1 FM. You're on the only, and once again, the only award-winning radio show dedicated to the magic and nostalgia of Saturday morning, hosted by me, a real media puppet. From the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday Morning.